Hey guys and gals, I recently had a family member ask me at a family function about why I bought the particular truck that I did. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good question, and that would make a really good conversation piece for the channel. So I decided I was going to make one. I tried to have Monica help me shoot this, but she had a place to go, so it didn't work out with our schedules conflicting, so hopefully this turns out okay. First things first, let's go over what kind of vehicle I have. I have a 2017 Ram 2500. It has the 6.4 liter Hemi gas engine in it. It has a 6-speed automatic transmission with the 410 gears in the rear end. That gives me a max tow capacity of 15,000 pounds. I also have the Mega Cab, which is Ram's version of an extended crew cab. It comes with a 6 foot 4 inch bed, I think. I think it's 6 foot 4 inches, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I guess to tell you how I ended up with this truck, we'd have to go back in time just a little bit. I originally had a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and it had a very low tow rating. It was in the neighborhood of about 5,000 pounds, and we had started looking at getting a pop-up trailer or getting an RV of some sort, and we looked at we started looking at them, and we decided that 5,000 pound towing wasn't going to cut it. We have 2 large dogs. You've probably seen them in some of our other videos, and we thought if we get stuck in that pop-up trailer with 2 large dogs on a rainy weekend, they're going to drive us insane. We needed a little bit more legroom than that, and we found out pretty quickly that 5,000 pound tow rating really limits us to what we can safely tow. So that forced us into a pickup truck. The truck I had before this one was a Ram 1500. It had the 5.7 liter V8, and it was a good truck. It was more than capable to do what we needed to do, but it just wasn't the truck that I wanted. I kind of always had that sort of restless leg syndrome. I was always looking for my next truck. And one day I was messing around online and I stumbled across the truck that I have now. It was a dealer truck. The general manager, if I remember correctly, was using it kind of as a grocery getter. He was using it to drive back and forth to work, and had about 1,000 miles on it. It was about 6 months old, and the new model year vehicles were getting ready to come out, and they were going to send it to auction. And I kind of swooped in before they did that and got a pretty killer deal on the truck. So that's really how I ended up with this one. It's got more of the creature comforts that I was kind of looking for in my other truck that I didn't have. Heated seats and things like that. thing that, it was my cousin that was asking me this. Next thing that he asked me was why I chose a Ram over, say, a Ford or a Chevy or even like a Toyota Tundra. And, you know, the real honest answer for that is I've always been in the Mopar family, and I've always had good luck with them. They've never let me down. My first car was a Chrysler Concorde. I learned to drive in my dad's Ram 1500 when I got my permit and my driver's license. You know, I had the Jeep we already mentioned. I had the Ram 1500. So I've always been in that family, and they've always just been good to me. They've always taken care of me. So that was one of the reasons why I bought this truck. Another one is, you know, and probably the most important one, I liked it. You know, the God's honest truth is the truck is way more capable than I'll probably ever need. Which is a good thing. I don't worry about anything that I throw in the truck when I go, when I hook my RV up to it and we go camping. You know, I throw firewood in the back of it. I throw kayaks in the back of it. You know, I can load that camper down, you know, way beyond what that camper is meant to hold and never think twice about it. So that's why I bought it. I liked it. You know, there's, you know, more, like I said, there's more to this truck than I'll ever use. It has four-wheel drive. That's not a feature that I use on a daily basis. I do enjoy having the four-wheel drive, only for the simple fact that if I do have another trailer, if I do have to go down into the yard to get that, and it's been raining for a week straight, I don't worry about not so much getting stuck, but tearing up the yard. You know, this is a heavy truck. This truck weighs in at 7,000 pounds, with a full tank of gas and me in the driver's seat. So it's a very heavy truck, and to come up a grass, slick, wet hill, you know, I don't want to tear up my yard, so I put it in four-wheel drive. I paid for it, I'm going to use it. Some of the other things people ask me about a lot are, you know, what kind of gas mileage do you get in this? And to be honest, the gas mileage is not as good as what I got in my 1500, but this is a 3/4 ton pickup truck. You know, it's not going to get as good a gas mileage as a half-ton pickup truck's going to get. It's not going to get as good a gas mileage as a Toyota Camry gets, because it's not meant for that. It's meant to work. The gas mileage that I get in it, I get about 15 miles to the gallon around town. When I get on the highway, I get about 19 miles to the gallon out of it. I can get 20 if I really, really, really drive efficiently, but it's very hard to maintain that 20 miles per gallon. Some people have asked me why I didn't get the diesel. The diesel in these trucks is a great engine. You know, don't get me wrong. But the reason that I didn't go with the diesel is because the price for the upgrade was not worth it to me. I drive a company vehicle throughout the week, 5 days a week. So this truck spends more time sitting than it does driving. The diesel, if you were to go to Ram's website and build this truck, they will tell you that the diesel upgrade is a $10,000 upgrade. And while it's true that's $10,000 for the engine, there's a few other things that need to change when we go from a gas engine to a diesel engine. We need a different transmission, and we need a few other different parts. That upgrade is actually closer to about a $13,000 upgrade. And I did not see the value in it. Like I said before, I have a 15,000 pound tow rating. The 3/4 ton diesel trucks have a tow rating of 16,000 and some change. 13 grand is not worth it to me for an extra 1,500 pounds of towing, I think is what it breaks down to. It's just not worth it. And the gas mileage is not that much better. And I know I'm going to have people that argue with me on this, but it's not that much better. It really isn't. And with the new changes coming to diesels, and before anybody says it, I am comparing a stock gas engine compared to a stock diesel engine. Yes, you can delete it and put a tuner on it and do all kinds of things. I can do a lot of things to my truck and get better gas mileage out of it too. But we're not comparing apples to apples at that point. A stock diesel, the gas mileage is not that much better than a stock gas truck today. But the the advantages just weren't there. And also too, with the new diesel exhaust fluid and the new emissions protocols that are coming out with them, they're working the bugs out with that. And it's not just Ram, it's Ram, Ford, Chevy, Peterbilt. They're, even go into your big trucks, they're all struggling with it right now. So to me, I'm going to let everybody figure out the problems, let them find them all for me, and maybe in a few years when they get it figured out, I might consider getting a diesel. But at the same time, I don't drive it enough. So that's why I went with the gas. If you're going to be towing your trailer, down the highway all the time, every day, or on a somewhat regular basis, the diesel may be an option to look at. I'm not saying don't get a diesel. I'm just saying for me, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, as I would like to put it. A few things to keep in mind when you're looking at a truck is you want to make sure that what you're towing is going to be within 80% of your tow rating. So we'll make everything really simple, and we'll say that you have a truck that has a tow rating of 10,000 pounds. If your trailer weighs 7,500 pounds, that would be within 80% of 10,000. But we have to remember, we have to account for everything that we're going to put in the trailer and everything that we're going to put in the truck. So if you have a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 kids, you're almost at probably 500 pounds between 2 adults and 2 kids. You're 350 to 500, we'll say, depending on how old everybody is, and how much everybody weighs. But so you're already at your 80% mark. Now once you put clothes and food and drinks and everything everybody else is going to bring, your wife's magazines and your daughter's iPad, all that stuff has weight. So you quickly get up to that and beyond that 80% mark. So that's one thing to consider when you're looking at it, is what's your tow rating. The next thing to consider is what creature comforts do you want and need. So the way that I did it when I was looking at my trucks, because I did a ton of research when I bought both of my trucks. Sorry, I'm in my truck here and some guy keeps going around the neighborhood, so I keep trying to figure out what he's doing. Anyway, I was going to have a V8. That was going to be something that I was going to have in the truck. It was going to be an automatic. These were all things. But you go down the list and you get to 4-wheel drive. My truck has 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive was not a deal breaker for me on either one of my trucks. God's honest truth, I can take it or leave it. I used to go around with dudes with 4-wheel drive Jeeps and a 2-wheel drive Grand Cherokee and go through everything that they went through. So I'm not worried about getting stuck. I'm not worried about snow and ice or any of that jazz. The reason that both of my trucks had 4-wheel drive is simply because they came with 4-wheel drive, and that's what was on the lot when I bought them. One thing that was a I guess kind of a deal breaker for me, I was definitely going to have it, was an integrated trailer brake system. My trailer brakes are built right into my dashboard right here, and they come up on my screen in between my speedometers. And the reason that I like that as much as I do is, one, it's a nice clean look. You don't have this big bulky box right underneath your column, you know, where you gotta screw into your dashboard to get it in there. I'm not interested in it. I don't like screwing things to my car. But one thing, and I can't speak for other manufacturers, I'm sure they probably do something similar, but on Ram, as soon as I plug my 8-pin connector into the back of my truck, it comes up on my dashboard and asks me if I would like to set up my trailer brakes or use a package that I already have set up. And I like that also because if I'm making adjustments, if I start going into the mountains or something like that and I need to increase my gain, I can do it right here. It comes up on my dashboard. I don't have to look down underneath me. I can keep my eyes on the road the whole time. Another thing, as soon as I unplug my trailer brakes, if my truck is running, it tells me on the dashboard that my trailer brakes have just come unplugged. You know, that's the last thing that you want to happen, is to be going down the road, going down Green Valley River Gorge, and your trailer brakes come undone and you don't know about it. So that is one thing. The tow mirrors, that was another thing that I was gonna have it. The 6-foot bed. That was another thing for me, that I wasn't gonna have anything less than a 6-foot bed, and I wanted either I wanted an extended cab of some sort, either a quad cab or a crew cab or what have you. I wanted that space in the back seat. So those were just a few things for me that, you know, when I was looking at the trucks, that those were a few of the things that I was going to have. You know, I think just about any truck manufacturer now has got a feature on their website that you can go to ramtrucks.com or Ford or Chevy, and you can build a truck. And it'll tell you right there what your tow ratings are, what your what your horsepower is, what your torque is, what your payload is. I know the Ram site even told you the wheelbase. You know, it would tell you what the wheelbase was and things like that. So those are just a few things on that. You know, I went, like I said before, I went with the Ram because it was the truck that I wanted and the truck that I liked. I liked the styling on it. I didn't care for the styling on the Ford at all. I thought the Chevys were okay. The problem that I had with Chevy is they like to do a lot of automatic headlights and automatic door locks and things like that, and just a lot of features that I'm not really interested in and I don't care about. Ram has those features in it, but I can turn them off. I can go into my radio and I can turn it off so that my doors don't lock all the time. I can turn my headlights to where they're on only when I want them to be on and things like that. It's just, those are just a few features that I didn't like. But we'll move on from that. He also asked me what were some pros and cons to owning a truck. The cons, you're not going to get great gas mileage. If you're going from a Honda Civic to a pickup truck, I don't care, I don't care who makes the pickup truck. Your gas mileage is not going to be the same. It's a truck. It's made to do work. It's just the way it is. Some other cons, I have never known so many people to move before in my entire life. If you get a pickup truck, everybody you have ever met in your life will call you to ask you to move something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a beacon that goes out when you get a pickup truck that says, hey, he just got a truck, why don't you call him to move that couch that's been in your front den for 5 years that you didn't care to get rid of until now. But apparently it exists. Hey, sorry about that, guys. I ran out of memory on my phone. I had to go back and delete a couple things. But I think we were on the pros and cons. You know, the pros to owning a truck, you know, trucks today are very capable. Even half-ton pickup trucks. Half-ton pickup trucks are doing work that, you know, you had to get 3/4-ton pickup trucks just 10, 15 years ago to do. So they've come great strides. They've also come great strides in gas mileage. I know I said that was a con just a minute ago, but new pickup trucks are a lot better on gas than they were. You know, you get a higher ground clearance with pickup trucks. As long as you don't put a camper shell on the back of them, you can pretty much put anything you want, you know, as long as you have enough tow straps to tie it down. But you can, you know, sky's the limit as high as you can stack stuff back there. If you do a lot of work, or you do a lot of home improvement type things like that, you know, a lot of DIY stuff, it's definitely handy to have a pickup truck. I really overloaded my Jeep a couple times when we were doing our tile floors in our kitchen. Apparently they're not meant to move like a pallet's worth of tile, so pickup truck is definitely the way to go for that one. But I mean, you know, that honestly the moral of the story is get something that you like. I do want to touch back on a couple things to keep in mind when you're looking at a truck. When you're looking at a truck, be aware of your rear end, your gearing in your rear end. I know we're going to talk about Ram for a minute because I know these trucks pretty well from all the research that I did on it. The 1500s actually have 3 different sets of gears in the rear end. And the 3/4 tons have 2. So typically what you would have is like a highway gear and then a towing gear. I have the 410s, which is a lower gear ratio, even though it's a higher number, which is not something I'm going to sit here and explain right now, but just keep that in mind. The higher the number, the lower the gear ratio. But I have the 410 gears in the rear end, which affords me 15,000 pounds towing. The other gear set is the 373. That gives you a tow rating of 13,600 pounds, I think. That's what they call like a highway gear. It's a little bit higher of a gear, so you get a little bit better gas mileage with it, but you sacrifice some towing. If we were to look at like the 1500s, where they have 3, they would have a 321, a 355, and a 392. If you're going to be towing all the time, and that's the primary use of the vehicle, you're going to be going cross country with it, or you know, long trips down the coast or something like that, go with that towing gear. Go with that 410 or that 392, that higher number. The reason for that is because you're going to be working the truck a lot, and it's going to be a little easier on your engine and your transmission with that with that lower gear range. If it's going to be like we're going to go out on the weekend, or we're going to go out on Memorial Day, something like that, and I'm going to drive the truck back and forth to work kind of thing, go with your highway gear on that one. The reason for that being is as long as it will still get the job done, as long as you'll still fall within your 80%, that's going to be really the way to go with that, because there's no sense in sacrificing that gas mileage during the week when you're going back and forth to work and getting groceries, when just for the few times a year that you do tow. If you're kind of in the middle, or not sure what you want to do, or you're kind of torn on what you want to do, best advice would be, I would go with like your mid-range, like a 355 gears or something like that. That's going to give you an even balance between towing and gas mileage. And from what I understand from some of the guys that, because you can change gear ratios and things like that, it's a little bit of work. It's more money really than it is work, but you can do it. From what I understand, some of the guys have taken the 321s out of the 1500s and put 392s in, and they've only lost about 2 miles to the gallon, which isn't really all that much. So just to kind of give everybody an idea of what you're looking at there. I think that's about it, guys. I can't think of anything else. The one other thing that I will say, the blue F-150 that I used in the picture for the description of this video, that's owned by a guy named Ben, and I know he's out there watching right now. I know his truck got into an accident this morning, so Ben, I want to thank you for letting me use your picture in the description, and I also want to say I'm sorry to hear what happened to your truck. Hopefully the insurance will take care of it and everything works out. But other than that, guys, like, comment, share, tell me what kind of truck you have. Comments are really, really appreciated. It really helps us in YouTube and how they look at our videos, and it helps us to provide better stuff for you in the future. So I don't care. Tell me what your first car was. Tell me clouds are puffy. If any of you guys out there listen to podcasts and you listen to Crime and Sports, they always tell everybody, put in the comments your following directions. That works for me, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.